In this video, we will see how to add multiple languages to your website built on Framework. As we can see, we have installed an empty theme for this tutorial that only features the Italian language. As we can see, there are no flags here to switch the page to an alternative language, and all the text is in Italian. If we want to add our additional languages, we need to go inside Settings, Website here in the left sidebar, and then we will find the Languages tab. Here, we simply need to click on the languages we want to add, for example, English and French, and then click Save, as we can see. In fact, by reloading the page here at the top, a checkbox will have opened that allows you to choose between one language and another. To clearly modify the various contents, as we can see, in fact, all fields that cannot be modified are disabled. Multilingual. In addition to the selected languages, we can add all the languages of the world, as Framework360 supports multilingual for all existing countries. If we want to modify this page and make it multilingual, we need to go into our page, in this case the home page. Under Website, Pages, we find the home page. And then, as we can see here at the top, we see that all the text is in Italian. We can switch to English, which will allow us to import, for example, the page from Italian to have it exactly the same. And then click on the various texts to start translating our content. Welcome to Framer. In fact, it will become Welcome to Framer. And then, to learn how to use Framework360, it will become to learn how to use Framework360. And we can also go and change, for example, the buttons where Entra nel gruppo will become Join the group Sancete, and Guarda I tutorial will become Watch the tutorials. Okay, we have translated our page, we can save it, and indeed, by returning to the Italian language, we will have our page in Italian. And by switching to English, our page in English. We can also add the French version, translating it in this case, we can use Google Translate, okay? Here too, as we can see with Google Translate, it's very simple. Join the group once the French pages are also translated. We will just need to add support to our website to switch from one language to another. How do we do that? We go to the header, we go into the global blocks to find our header here. We will add, among the blocks, we can indeed see there will be multilingual support. Language selector. We can add it to the column very well. As we can see, Framework360 has already recognized the languages we have enabled. We can choose between the flags and the select, for example. The select is the drop-down that clearly allows you to choose the exact language. We place the flags, and then we can position them next to the home page option, for example, by going into Content, positioning content side by side. Then we can style it to keep everything centered and move everything horizontally. Okay. We've done everything, as we saw, but from the column design tabs, by reloading the home page of our site, we see that our page is in English, which we have already translated previously, and the French language will have been added. Each page of our site will automatically be made operational with multilingual support. If we want to make the home page of our website the one, for example, in English, since the URL of our site currently appears like this, this is our domain, and then there will be /fr. For the French language, /n for the English language. And so instead, it will clearly be the main language, since when visitors search for our website, they will automatically find the Italian language and can then switch from one language to another, as we saw before. But if we want the English language to become the main one, because indeed, perhaps our site needs to be primarily positioned for England, let's go inside Settings, Website, where we were before, into Languages, and then we click on Main Language in English, as we can see. In fact, if we enter our main URL, now we enter it here, we see that the English language will have opened and no longer the Italian language. In fact, the Italian language will now appear with a link, like this /it, as if it were indeed a secondary language. By doing so, multilingual support can be added to our website in an extremely simple way with Framework360, as we can see. In fact, there are many strings that do not appear in the visual builder, but that we can translate within the website, translations. As we can see, in fact, Framework360 will recognize all the strings that do not appear. They appear in no module. For example, log into your account, login enabled, enable, subscription successfully activated. All these strings that if we see we do not have the option to translate on the various modules of our environment, we will find them all together on this screen. Usually, these are the strings from the plugins, as we can see. In fact, there are strings for the calendar, camera, rooms, features, dinner. There are all the words, indeed, that appear in the various plugins installed in our environment. Obviously, all system emails are also sent directly to Kitty to customers in their language. For example, indeed, to create our translations, we need to go inside Settings, Template, System, switch to the English language, for example, and then start translating all the system emails that are sent. Because indeed, when a customer browses the site in English, the Framework360 system will register them as a customer of the specific language they have browsed. In fact, for example, account activation here, that we could translate attivazione account to l'account activation. And then here go to translate with welcome name. We thank you for being sites on Framework360, etc. We will clearly need to translate it into English. By doing so, when the customer registers in the English language reserved area on our website, they will receive the English version of the system email